So tomorrow you have XAT 2025, right? So in this particular video, it won't be that much long, right? I have already uploaded a lot of DM questions, DM different sets, through which you can go once and you can see what you need to think while solving that particular question other than PYQ, right? Now, then this video, I'll talk about the strategy, what you need to do in particular section, what exactly is needed in that, right? So I'll start with cons, QADI. Fine. So don't listen to the people, don't listen to anyone. You have gone through the PYQ, you have seen a difference between 2023 and 2024, right? Obviously, 2023 was easy because you would have seen, like, the marks what you need to get 99 percentile was more what you need to score in 2024, right? So obviously, it was easy. In this, it was tough, right? Fine. So QADI, you know very well, it is having 28 question. Fine. So, in if you have gone to the PYQ, right? Obviously, you would have gone through the selective basis or something like that, right? So, QADA, obviously, you need a minimum number to, at least clear the cutoff, right? If you are someone who doesn't like much QA, who is not interested in DI and all, right? For this purpose, what I'm saying, see, in QA, like what I have seen, like if we talk about the easy question, right? The easy question basically come from algebra mostly. Fine, that won't be much time consuming. You just need to think or geometry. Fine. It is not that time consuming, right? But when it comes from, arithmetic, or if I talk about number system, right? So it's like a case basis, it will be little more time consuming. Even in algebra also, there was an inequality question, I guess, uh, 2 years back, right? Obviously, that was time consuming because you need to consider each and every cases, right? So my point is now when you are selecting the question from QA, right? Before starting to attempt that particular question, right? Make sure to see it out. See, obviously, while reading the question, you will understand whether this question will be time consuming or it will be solvable in just one or two lines, right? So first, you need to do that particular question which you can solve in particular, in two, three lines like that, right? For example, last year, if you look into the logarithm question, right, that was quite solvable, right? There was one more question from number system that was also quite solvable, right? फाइन नंबर सिस्टम में और एक क्वेश्चन था जिसमें आपको एलसीएम वाला समथिंग सिनेरियो वाज गिवन एलसीएम और दे हैव टॉक्ड अबाउट द जीसीडी राइट सो दैट वाज अ लिटिल बिट टाइम कंज्यूमिंग राइट सो दैट टाइप ऑफ क्वेश्चन यू नीड टू skip. See, obviously, if you have solved PYQ in QADI, you would have understood what type of question you have to solve, what you don't have to solve, right? In DI, usually you will be having four sets. Fine. Like a bit, oh, I don't know what would be in that, right? But usually four sets, so you can consider, right? Out of this four sets, this is very basics DI, right? Not that tough and all. Obviously, it will be a little bit time consuming or calculating, but you can use the calculator, and this was better than the QA question, which is much time consuming. Because in one question, how much time you're gonna spend? For example, I'm just putting a case, right? For example, in one question, if you're gonna spend 4 to 5 minutes, right? In that particular time, you can solve two question of DI, right? So obviously, your preference should be like this. In QA, you should do that particular question which you feel like that can be done in, one or two steps. After that, just move to DI. At the end, if time remains, then you can go for the remaining QA question. Then also, you should go only when you are thorough with that particular concept, right? For example, if you know geometry, then you can attempt the geometry question. If you know number system, then you can attempt that particular number system question, right? Other than that, don't do this particular thing. Don't do at during that point of time. This you should do at end. Fine. Even if you know QADI very well, do it at end. Don't start with QADI because obviously you will be very tired considering the toughness of the QA question or the lengthiness of the QA question, right? Plus जो DM और VA section है ना वो बहुत ज्यादा रीडिंग टाइप का क्वेश्चन है ठीक है डीएम में भी ऑल्सो इट रिक्वायर रीडिंग स्किल्स अंडरस्टैंडिंग स्किल्स एंड ऑल इट्स नॉट समथिंग लाइक दैट यू नीड टू जस्ट सॉल्व समथिंग लाइक दैट राइट सो ऑब्वियसली डीएम एंड वीए राइट आइदर डीएम और वीए दैट यू नीड टू डू फर्स्ट आइदर आप डीएम कर लो पहले या फिर वीए कर लो ठीक है I don't have much idea about VA, right? I will just say this thing out. कि मतलब the person who is not good in VA, right? My suggestion would be go with RC. Avoid the grammar type of question because you don't have the, like this particular thing, ki what rule in grammar is considered right and all, which sentence is wrong, which sentence is correct. You can either go with RC or you can go with this parasymbol or something like that, right? So that is quite doable, right? मतलब critical reasoning भी आप try कर सकते हो if you have practice, but grammar based you can skip, right? If you are not good in, you are not a someone who is good in VA, right? Plus talking about the number of attempt in VA, right? This should depend on the toughness of the paper, right? If the paper is easy, obviously you will get to know while reading the comprehension, while reading the question and all, right? Then you should attempt more number of questions. Right. But if the paper is tough, right? So attempting more number of questions doesn't make any sense in this particular case, right? You should go with a less attempt with more accuracy, right? Now, coming back to the DM part, see, at the end, I just want to tell in DM, right? कि भाई DM में there will be around 20, I guess 21 questions, something 21 questions रहते हैं that will be come to 7 cases, right? Fine. So out of the seven cases, right, even while solving the paper mock and all, even combination of DM sets, I have told very clearly that you should pick up that particular set which you feel more relatable to it. For example, if it's about corporate, if you are working in corporate, if you have done through that case, like for example, corporate में कोई problem has some promotion is happening and all family issues, like someone has been promoted or something like that, right? Then third come business idea. If you are from a business family and you have an idea about that particular business, then you can go through that particular case. It's not necessary to attempt each and every question if you are attempting any case, right? Because most of the question in which there will be arrangement type. For example, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and they tell you about which sequence should come first, which sequence should come at last, right? This type of question either you should do it end or you should just mark it and you just keep it as it is, right? Because understand this will be again time consuming and getting it correct is also a little bit dicey, okay? Obviously most of the time through options we can find it out which can be correct, right? But sometimes if they want to make it tough, so they can they might make the option confusing as well, right? So in that case you should attempt this type of question at the after attempting all the questions when you have time left, right? Okay, now I have done whatever I know. For example, what I need to say that, for example, suppose you allotted VA 40 minutes to 45 minutes or 50 minutes, right? Fine. And then you came to DM and DM you allotted 45 minutes, then you move to QADI, right? After this particular case, you have a time left, right? For example. So obviously you should first prioritize to DM, then you will come to QA. Right. If you feel like, okay, like, no, I should do QA first. The problem in this, you don't know how much time it's gonna take to solve that particular question, whether it will be solvable or not, that is also a case, right? See, yeah, whatever the scenario you are sticking with, whether you are good in QADI, whether you are not, right? My point is always do it at end. Don't start with QADI, right? Obviously, it's a suggestion. Obviously, it might not work for someone, it might work for someone, right? So obviously, you have written the mock, you know very well where you score much more. So time management is very necessary in that key how we should manage the time, because sometimes what happens, we just stick in one section and let's suppose that would be tough, right? You gave more time to QADI and that was tough, right? You were able to attend then also 11 to 12 question only, so that doesn't make any sense, right? Because you need to clear the cutoff sectional as well, right? So that you need to keep in your mind. Plus, attempting more number of questions or less number of questions should be depend on the toughness of the paper. How much paper tough is. If it's easy, you should attempt, obviously more number of questions. If it's tough, attempt less number of questions because accuracy matters in that as well. Right, because if it's tough for it will be tough for everyone, right? So this was the last minute tips what I need to tell you guys, right? Obviously, I've said it in previous video as well, right? So your sequence should be like this. First VA, right? VA is something, if you know, if you can solve it. If you don't know, you cannot solve it, right? I'm talking about the people who are not much confident in VARC, and you are not good in accuracy as well, right? To avoid grammar type of question, right? Because this will be again time consuming and getting it correct will be a little bit difficult, because if you don't have any idea about the grammar rule and all, so obviously you won't be able to do this, right? Then coming back to DM question, I have told, right, seven cases would be there or eight cases, right? See pattern, we cannot say what's gonna happen in the exactly paper, what's gonna be there, right? But my point is, you should particularly pick that particular case which you feel more habitual. You should not start the pala case. The pala case start karo nahi. For example, sometimes what happen, like third or fourth case is based on this particular scenario, ठीक है? तो वो आप पहले कर लो, ठीक है? So that would be much advisable. QADA में भी again वो बोल रहा हूँ, आप पहले QA के वो क्वेश्चन अटेम्प्ट करो जो आपको लगते हैं कि that is easy to do, that is quite solvable, right? Then come to DI, right? And then at end come to QA, the question what you will left, right? Or time आपके पास फिर भी बचता है, so you can go with DM as well, like if time is remaining. But my point is, again, time management is very, necessary. Don't take ego and spend more time on this particular, what we say, QADI और DM पे हमने 1 घंटा दे दिया, VRC में हमने 1.5 घंटा दे दिया. Don't do that, right? Trust me, this always backfire, right? This is a very risky move if you want to do that, right? Obviously, you have written mocks, so you know what exactly you are standing and all. This is the last minute tip what I needed to tell you guys, right? Obviously, all the best for the XAT 2025. Hope you guys score well, right? That's all for this particular video. Thank you and all the best once again.